you have ADHD, you've likely experienced something like this before. Your perfect plans for the day go awry, your routine gets upended, and even if you somehow manage to not get angry in response, it feels impossible to get back to it and do whatever it was you're planning to do that day. What's worse, we often become hyper aware that we're stuck, and then that stuckness we can't get it out of our heads, and we really can't seem to break past it. In a recent survey in my newsletter, half of the people said that when their routine gets upended like this, it takes them an entire day, if not more, to get back on track. So what can we do about it? Here are a few strategies you can use to help you get unstuck and get back to it. Now remember, no strategy is the magic pill, the magic wand going to fix your problems every single time. But the idea is really to build up a list of strategies that you can try so that if one doesn't work, you bounce right back and jump right onto the next one. The thing to really lock in is you can't fail a strategy. Think of a sports team that has their playbook. They've got dozens and dozens, if not more, plays in that playbook. There's no magic play that's always going to work. They have to see what's happening in that specific game against that opponent, what the situation is, and then they will use that playbook to try out and see what works and what doesn't. And that's really what you want to do when you're stuck, when you're feeling stuck and you can't break through. You got to try different things and see what is the one that's going to help you unlock or get some forward momentum happening today. So I've got 5 main strategies we can add to that playbook to help you get unstuck. First, one small win. Rather than getting overwhelmed by a giant list of to-dos and all of that maybe a project entails, focus on one small win that you can get done. What's one of those tasks or even part of a task that you can check off and get it done quickly? And then once you get that one small win, what's another small win? And so on. Try and find those little pieces that you can take off, that you can bite off and tackle quickly, just to get some of that forward momentum going. And we're talking tiny wins here. Maybe it's archiving a single email, or it's putting away one dirty dish. Whatever the task is in front of you, try to find that really small thing just so you can say, hey, in the grand scheme of things, I made some forward progress. And then you can build on that and build on that. Related with that is number 2, what I call creating a to-do list. Instead of a to-do list where you write down a whole bunch of stuff you haven't done yet, with a to-do list, you start by writing out the things you have done. So maybe it's very simple stuff. Maybe it's got dressed, made coffee. It's just something that you've got done today. And then you write those things down and check them off. And then you can write some of those additional tasks, that one small win. You write those tasks after it. So then you have a to-do list that's partially done, maybe even halfway done already. And that again is about kind of building that momentum to help you keep making forward progress. So when you get stuck with something, return to that list, or maybe start the list from right there, get those to-dos written down, and then add what is 1 or 2 to-dos I can get to next. A third thing you can try is finding your highlight for the day. This is something I got from the book Make Time, which I highly recommend. And the idea is that every single day, pick what you want to be your highlight of the day. Now, maybe it's a big project or a big task that you're trying to get done. Maybe it's something a little bit more personal to your life. Like maybe you went out to play baseball with your kid that day or something like that. Just something that would make that day feel like a win. And the point of this sort of being is that most days we don't really think about our highlight of the day. So even if you don't get a highlight every single day, it helps you prioritize that as a goal. So we don't just get stuck going through the motions, feeling like I'm not getting anything done. 3 weeks went by, what did I even do? Picking that highlight every single day really helps you to prioritize what do I need to do to make sure that highlight happens today? And when you get stuck, it really helps you focus on what is actually important for me right now. As they say in the book, if at the end of the day someone asks you, what was the highlight of your day? What do you want your answer to be? When you look back on your day, what activity or accomplishment or moment do you want to savor? That's your highlight. Another way to help when you get stuck is to use ADHD coaching. Now, I've partnered with my friends at Shimmer, and when I see friends, I mean it. I know a bunch of people there, and they are awesome, awesome group of folks at Shimmer. And Shimmer is a great coaching platform, especially if you're just looking to get started. They're super flexible with schedules, and you can message your coach in between sessions. Their coaches are ADHD specialists that really get it. If this is for you and you want to take that first step, I've got something to help you out. You can use my code ADHDJesse. Just go to shimmer.care/ADHDJesse and then use that code at checkout to get 35% off your first month. Number 4, start messy. Oftentimes, I'm very guilty of this. I try to perfect the plan of something before I can actually get started in doing anything. Something I often have to tell myself is I'll never know less about this problem than I do right now. The more I can just jump in there, start messy, and then kind of keep going with that problem, the more I'm going to pick up better understanding of what I'm actually dealing with. Like, what is this problem? What am I trying to tackle right now? So it's all about starting messy, get in there and just start doing stuff. Later, you can clean up the mess and sort of figure stuff out and maybe better organize what you're trying to do. But at the beginning, you're really just trying to get in there and get that forward momentum going. Once again, that's really the theme. Get that forward momentum going. Embrace that messy start and just keep going. And finally on the list, number 5, we've got use the 4 C's of motivation. Now, what are the 4 C's of motivation? The 4 C's of motivation are captivate, create, compete, and complete. And the idea of these is this is how the ADHD brain works. To find motivation, we're not really motivated by consequences or rewards unless they're really immediate, or importance. And that's a key thing. A lot of our society is built around highlighting what is important so that you can work on that, but that doesn't provide motivation to the ADHD brain. Instead, we're motivated by things that are captivating or interesting to us, things that are creative and novel, things that are challenging, like a competition, and finally, things that have due dates and deadlines that are urgent. Those are the ways that really motivate the ADHD brain. And by using those, you can find different ways to tackle a problem that will utilize how your brain works. So just like I said in the beginning, it's not about finding the perfect strategy. It's about finding which strategy works for you right now. So look at your problem and say, hey, how can I make this task more captivating? Or how can I make it more creative or novel? How can I make it a bit more of a challenge, like a fun challenge or competition? Or how can I make it more urgent with some sort of due date or deadline or timer, whatever the case might be? I actually wrote a book about the 4 C's of motivation that really dives a lot more into the specifics of those strategies. It's called Extra Focus. You can buy it anywhere books are sold pretty much. But this is really, it's Extra Focus, the quick start guide to adult ADHD. It talks a lot more specifically how those 4 C's of motivation work. I also had a couple of bonus strategies that I wanted to share that I got from some readers of my newsletter. I have to say out loud, I'm stuck. It's still taking me some practice, but when I do it, I seem to remember the stuckness is temporary better. The best strategy I've learned over the years is to acknowledge the derailment and listen to my body and brain the moment I've realized I'm off track. Sometimes that means I have to go lay down a second or just take a break. Sometimes actually verbalizing the acknowledgement with some gentle self-talk helps me be present in the moments after a distraction and disperse any gathering guilt I feel about not being productive right away. Make a list of all the options. Spinning in confusion is a great way to stay stuck. And a final extra bonus, if you haven't already read my ADHD strategy guide, it's free. You can get it at extrafocus.com/strategy. And I think you'll find that super beneficial.